Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursday Night Talk, TNT. I am your host, Justin Alleyne. I am so thrilled, so happy to be with you once again. We had a pause for a cause last week. We joined our conference. What a wonderful program they had last week. And now we are back live with TNT, Thursday Night Talk, and we have a wonderful show for you. Now, you know that over the last couple of weeks, we had some interesting topics. We looked at coping with COVID. We looked at through the eyes of a first responder. And we looked at many other things. And tonight, we have an interesting topic. I will still marry you after COVID. Interesting. I will still marry you after COVID. Now, we have with us Pastor Ricardo Salmon. I know him well. For a long time, I've known Pastor Salmon. Now, before I say some nice, kind words about Pastor Salmon, what I will do, we will pause and we will ask God's blessing on the next program. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we come before you believing that you're God who hears and answers our pleas. We know, that, Lord, that nothing can be done without you and nothing surprises you. And we ask, so Lord, your blessing on this program, the programs that are going on all through our conference, all through our union, all through our division, all through the World Church, all through these programs. So we ask your blessing on the electricity, the internet, all of these infrastructure. So Lord, that we can have programs like these. Bless this program in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Now, this program, as you know, is sponsored by the St. Thomas District of Seventh-day Adventists. They have allowed us to use their platform, and we thank Pastor Bernard Prescott. Pastor Bernard Prescott has allowed Pastor Salmon to join us. So we thank the St. Thomas District for allowing us to use this platform. We are also sponsored by Clayton's Fresh Produce. I know that today, just today, Clayton gave me some fresh produce. He also supplied me with some soil for my kitchen garden, and it is going well. I have lots of plants, so I just want to thank the sponsors again. Also, we have Patrick's Variety. So we thank the sponsors. So without further ado, we want to welcome Pastor Ricardo Salmon. He is the Family Life Director of the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. So we want to welcome Pastor Salmon to the St. Thomas District. Pastor Salmon, are you there?
I'm here, sir. Good night to everybody. Thanks for the invitation, Justin.
Certainly, certainly. You know that we are living with this dreaded pandemic. We're in lockdown, and sometimes persons may say, I am shut down with my spouse. So, Pastor, we have an interesting discussion tonight. And for you, we just want you to introduce yourself. We want to welcome those of you who are joining us. You may not be a Seventh-day Adventist. You may join us for the first time. We want to welcome you. We have persons joining us regionally. We have persons joining us internationally. And we just want to take this time to welcome you to TNT, Thursday Night Talk. Pastor Salmon, now is your time to introduce yourself to all those guests.
Well, I thought that you did the introduction quite well. There's nothing much more can say. I am presently the Family Life Director for the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. That is for those who are outside of Barbados. And I'm also the pastor for the Silver Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church. I am pastoring with Pastor Cook. I have taken away one of his churches, and so I am pastoring with him. I'm a trained minister, but I'm also a psychotherapist. And so most of my work involves counseling. I like to think that my specialty is in anxiety and depression, but there are others who like to think that my specialty is couples. I love to work with couples. I must say they're very hard to work with though, but I love working with couples. So I like the clinical environment more than any other environment. Actually, I think of myself more as a counselor now than a pastor, since I spend so much more time counseling than pastoring. So that's where we're at. I don't know. I have one wife, Esther, the best woman in the world. And then I have two children, and they're two adult children, and one grandson.
Are they the best children in the world?
They're good children. They're good children. I still fight with them every now and then about certain things, even though they're big. They say you never get rid of children, Justin. It's so true. I was hoping it wasn't true, but it's so true. And but I also have a grandson that he's like my shadow. I think I love him. Don't tell anybody that I say this, but I think I love him more than I love my children. So so I am a very satisfied man in many ways, and thankful to God for all. Don't have as much as many, but I have everything that I need.
Everything that you need, and also a kitchen garden. No.
Yes, got a kitchen garden there that I work on. It's really my wife that started it, Justin. But, I noticed that she started it and gave the responsibility to me. So no, I'm the one who gets up every morning and go out there. It's kind of nice. I like it, and I go back in the evening again because I sit at this computer every day on Zoom. I'm always on Zoom all day doing some talking, counseling, whatever it is. So I usually take my breaks and go over there in the garden and play with those things over there and to see them growing is a beautiful thing. To see things grow, fantastic thing, you know. So I love it, and I don't plan to stop it. But it helps to break the monotony for me. It really does.
Yes, because we can. Yes, so we can get zoomed out. I understand. I understand the challenges. So, Pastor, here's what we're gonna say.
But Justin, before you go, Justin, before you go on though, I want you to know I heard the Prime Minister said a minute ago that we can now go back to the barber. So I don't know if you are thinking on keeping things the way they are, or are you going to the barber?
You see, this program is not about the moderator, sir. It's really about you. And right now, my hairstyle is COVID. This is my COVID. Yes, sir. My COVID. This is my COVID look. This is COVID look. Right, and when COVID go, this will go.
All right.
Right. I know a lot of folks have been asking about the hairstyle, but nevertheless, after COVID, we will talk again. Now, this evening, let's set the record. What we want to do is to ask the pastor. We have him here. As he said, he likes being a counselor. And we want to ask him some tough questions, really tough questions. Now, we're going to have some questions initially, and then, my producer will come in and he will get the questions from those of you on YouTube. And those of you want to welcome those of you who are on YouTube, those of you on Zoom, post your questions in the chat, and we will take all of the questions. And this is how we will go. So we'll ask a few questions, the pastor will answer them, and then we will then break and have questions, and then segment where we're going to ask some really difficult questions to the pastor who's here with us. So the first question, Pastor, and we want to welcome those of you from our sister churches. We just want to take the time to welcome you, Sister Marcia. Thank you for logging on. I see you. And so many others, our guests, our special invited guests, so on. Here's the first question, Pastor. My spouse was never a stay-at-home person, and we have been struggling because he's here all the time. How can I help? Remember, Pastor, this is a family program. You don't also want to talk about sex, So we want you to give us an answer to this. My spouse is not a stay-at-home person. So now he's here with me. I need some help.
Well, look, hey, just know that for me though, I don't go too quick to the sex question, to the sex answer, because I do not really see the sex answer to be the answer to a lot of things. And so for me to really address the sex issue, you have to come direct to me with a question. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to assume anything when it comes to that. But let me say though that COVID-19 has been really a stress on everybody, and you have, and I think this is, by the way, I think maybe a man thing, because men like to be busy and do things with their hands, and they like to work. We are productive when we are working, when we are bringing money in, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the same applies to women. Women also fall into that category to some level. But the reality is that generally, if a man has to stay at home, he will find something to do. He can go outside, he can go looking for work. But if you take that man and you lock him within four walls and you say to that man that he cannot leave the house, he cannot go to work and stuff like that, you've really boxed that man in. You box him in, because as men, we love to do things. We love to be busy. Yeah. Now, that is not to say that women don't like to be busy. But I think that a woman can stay at home, she find things to do, she clean the house, she do this, she do that, she'll do the next, and she'll do the third. And she'll be just fine, because this is what I hear women say to me. Women have said to me, Pastor, I feel very good at home. I'm very comfortable. My wife is an essential worker, so she has to go to work. And so she wishes that she was at home. You see what I'm saying? She does wishes she was at home to stay with us. And so, but she has to go to work, because she's an essential service. So I want to say this though to men. But by the way, the research coming out of the UK and China, because I read it myself. I take a lot of time to read the CDC nowadays, Pew Research, Gallup, WHO. I spend a lot of time reading those things, yeah. And one of the things that I have found, that I came across some research where it says that you can expect to have an increase in violence among couples now they're staying at home. There's been a coming out. They say there are many couples who are already calling lawyers, trying to get a divorce. Yeah. Before COVID is over.
I'm glad you brought that. May break you for a minute. I love the fact you brought that in early, but I want you to transition that for the second half, if you can, because we want to look at that. We want to look at that specifically in the second half. So I just want to break you there, right?
Sure, no problem.
Carry on.
No problem. And so let me say this, that you can have a case where there are couples who, because they have to stay at home, they may not necessarily under normal circumstances be violent, but because of the stress, and this is what I really come out of the research, because of the stress that is involved, couples or partners or a spouse who was not violent can become violent because he feels stress, yeah, feels under pressure. And so before you allow something like that to happen, they say what you need to do is to manage your emotional level well. Pay attention to how you're feeling, all right? Because you're going to have anger outbursts, and so you can have anger outbursts on someone who has not done you anything. This other person just loves you, but you have to manage your feelings, because you have to remember that your partner is also going to stress as a result of the shutdown, and so you have to calm yourself. You have to cool down. Some people take 20 minutes, some take 30 minutes, some take 45 minutes, but you have to calm yourself down. And having calmed yourself down, now you can come back and have a conversation with your partner where both of you can share how you're feeling, because the line of communication has to stay open. If there's violence, if there's aggression, if there's anger outbursts and all of that, what is going to happen is that you're going to shut off the communication level. Anytime you shut down the communication level, you're going to have some challenges. You're going to have a number of challenges. The kind of progress that you need, you're not going to be able to do it. And so you have to control the anxiety. And anxiety has been a big thing in this whole thing, the fear. So you have to control those anxiety feelings. You have to recognize those feelings, because it is easy for us to notice feelings in somebody. It's easy for us to take our own feelings and project them onto someone, but you have to pay attention to your own anxious feelings. Recognize those feelings first, first. And having recognized those feelings, accept them as yours, and now begin to be mindful as to what it will take for you to get past these feelings so that you can have good communication with the people that live in the house with you, because that is important. Because part of this, Justin, is the issue of grief. Grief is a big issue, right? Because you're feeling as though you have lost. You lost something that is important to you, and you don't know if you're going to get it back or when you will get it back. And so as a result of that, you have to pay attention to your grief issues and work them through and process them with a counselor or with somebody who will take time to listen to you. Because if you do not pay attention to you and managing how you feel and taking care of you, by the time COVID is over, not only will you get a haircut, but you will also have to get a lawyer. And so it is very, very important. It is very, very important that you do that. So you play games, you learn to play games, do smart little things, like we said, go in the yard and do things and do what it is. My next move is to try to build a house on the outside there, a little one, you know, maybe it won't be a dog house because I don't do dog houses. See, I don't. A shed. But you know, it's just because I love not pounding nails, and I have the tools, but I really, you know, carpenter. I came up from a line of carpenters, so it's somehow inside of me. I really plan to be a carpenter. But I'm going to go and build something. I hear you. So I'm saying when you do things, become creative. When you do that, you can settle your nerves, you can calm yourself, and then you'll be able to bring back a certain amount of equilibrium to the family.
Okay. So following on from the similar question, no, the person is never stayed at home person. So how can we get a person? You're always on the go, you're always on the move. So your solution to that would be find something around the home to help you to bring yourself back to that point where you're doing something. So that is your solution to that. Okay, great, Pastor. Thank you. Great answer. Now, number two, my providing spouse lost their job. How can I assure them in a practical terms that things will be okay? How can we comfort our spouse in that situation?
Well, let me tell you, that's a serious thing. And, when I have a lot of sympathy for people who've lost their jobs, and I don't know how I would deal with that. I think that the amount of stress that can put on a person and even on a family having lost a job is especially when you don't know if and when things will go back to what is called normal. Is a hard thing, and I don't want in any way take this just as a question, Justin, but take this as a reality. I pastor a church, and like I said, and I know there are people there who have lost their jobs. Yeah. And the question from them is, Pastor, what I'm going to do? This is what they asked me. What are you going to do? Some call me and ask me, can the church help me to pay for this? Can the church help me to pay for that? There's a serious thing. There's a serious thing. So let's try to address it in a rather serious way. And I think I addressing it this very seriously simply because it hit home in the sense of members. And what I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, well, not every day, but some days, the kind of counsel you have to give to them. Matter of fact, and there's somewhere I know both of them have lost jobs. Both people have mortgages to pay, they have utilities and so on. It is a hard thing. It is a hard thing. How can you reassure them in practical ways? Let me take the time and share with you some of the things that I say to them. Some of the things I say to them. Depending on the circumstance, I ask certain questions because I can't just go to the church board and say this person wants money. I have to have information, right? I want to know from them because there are some people who don't manage money well. I want to make sure that these persons are managing money well. So let's say somebody call and say that they can't pay the mortgage. I don't only want to know if you can't pay the mortgage. I want to know if the mortgage is behind. Because chances are, if you've been working all along and your mortgage is way behind, it kind of suggests to me that you may not have been managing things well. That's what it suggests to me, you know, that you have not been managing things very well. It may not be you could have met certain financial difficulties that may have plunged you into that. But if it's one thing I always believe, you must make sure you have a roof over your head. Everything else can go off in the house, but that mortgage gotta get paid. That's my philosophy. Or your rent must get paid. Yeah, because you need to sleep at night, especially if you have children. So I ask questions like that. I ask questions like, is your rent behind? Is your mortgage behind? Is your light behind? Is your phone behind? Is a thing behind? And then I talk about budgeting. Do you budget your money? Do you budget? Do you budget? Who set up your budget for you? I know the persons are in a serious thing, and all these questions for them and helping them right now. But I am not only interested in helping them right now. I want to make sure that when we move off from here, that you already have a plan to put something in place to make sure that, I had hard times in my life, you know, hard times, and I knew what I had to do, things that work. And I'm trying to give you things that work. I don't want you coming back here again next week to the church or next month to the church asking for more money again because there's somebody else that needs money. You know, getting yours. So outside of this here, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna give you this $1,000 here to help you pay your bills. But what are you gonna do after this though? You see what I'm saying? Don't come back for next month because there are other people who need help, right? And you know, and I know that you're not collecting money anymore. The people are keeping the monies at home until things open back up so they can turn their monies in. I believe that. So I discuss, I think it becomes critical that they look at their budgeting, look at their budget again, because every person should have a budget. You only know what you have and what you don't have when you budget. I learned that from experience. And I teach people that and they learn it. In premarital counseling, I teach them that. And they learn that. So, wow, Pastor. In premarital counseling, no, they say, Pastor, well, I didn't realize this and that just by budgeting. Yeah. So budgeting. I want to know, what are the priorities? What are the priorities? How do you normally resolve financial issues? Now, I'm gonna do all I can to get money to you to help you this time. Don't forget what I'm saying. But coming to this, you have to do something now. See, got to do something. Now, I want to know if you have family and friends who can help you. I have family and friends I can call if I have a problem, financial problem. You have to live well with people, you know. That's why I say always live well with people, especially your family. Live well with your family, because at the end of the day, all you got is family, you know. Right? Live well with family and friends. So do you have any family or friends that can give you a little helping hand? Do you have family and friends that you can ask them a few questions? You know, hey, look, you know, we're not working right now and out of job, you know. Do you know of anybody who may have a job, you know? And we're talking about after COVID. So after COVID, you're calling these people and say, hey, look, do you know anybody who's looking for a carpenter, somebody who's looking for a mason? You have to ask questions. Don't sit down home and believe that everything that you just pray, and after you pray, that's it. No. You have to pray, you get up and move. So I ask them questions like that. Get others to help you look for a job. Networking. We live in a world of networking. Nobody is just going to come and drop anything in your lap anymore. You have to ask questions, get to know people. If you're a carpenter, call construction places, and so on and so forth, because some of these people are still under stress, even though they're coming out. You have to guide them through. Look at ways both the husband and the wife can agree on what can we agree on here, because always remember, there must always be ways where couples must learn how to agree on things. You can't go forward unless there be mutual agreement. Look at financial counselors. If you have a little money left over and you figure whatever it is, you know, you have to ask the few questions of the financial counselors. You don't have to call the ones you have to pay. You know, there's some that you can call on the phone or whatever and say, look, man, I need you to help me through here with this year, because those financial counselors can be very, very helpful. and ask them to help you to manage. How can I manage these little monies that I have? I listened to one some time ago. One of the persons that I thought was very good at that is Vince Yearwood. Um, I listened to him once on talking about this stuff, and he laid out a lot of nice little things, you know, that a person can do to help the money to stretch, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the things that for me that is important, I think the supermarket things are very expensive. So you have to call people and ask them for breadfruit. Man, you know, people still give their breadfruit and some yams and so on and so forth. You got to ask a question. These are actually things that you can do. Spend time with your family at home. Stay home, spend time with your family, you know, laugh and play and enjoy yourself. I said that one
Yes.
earlier. That is good. Keep the lines of communication between you and your spouse open. Keep talking and keep exploring new ways of doing things. Yeah. Look at what you have, because oftentimes we have a lot of things and don't have it. I don't like a lot of stuff. I really don't. But suddenly I look around and ask myself, where you get all this stuff in this house from? You know, really, it's like because things have a way of just creeping in. And I don't like a lot of stuff. I don't like clutter. I would like, for me, as far as I'm concerned, a house should have just enough chairs for the people that live in it. I told and my wife said to me, but what happened when people come into the house? I said, tell them bring a chair when they're coming because we don't have any. She very laughed. She said, Mr. Salmon or something. She called me Mr. Salmon, so you know there's a problem there. So, but I'm saying we can look at some of the things that we have around, look at some of the things that we have around and sell them. That's something that they do in the US. You know, we don't have garage sales here, but you'll be surprised to know. And when a fella get desperate enough and you put something outside the road to sell and look, what do you buy it because you're desperate? Of course, you got to pay $10,000. If you buy it on the road, you can pay $100.
Excellent points, Pastor. You've really given us some particular examples. Great examples, Pastor. Great examples. Now, you've answered some of these. You know, interjected some points into this one. Now, the person said to me here, Pastor, we are just not getting along. Everything is a noise. I just want to run with it. Everything is a noise. Everything is a noise. You know, if I go in the yard, he or she quarrel. If I pick up the clothes and fold them this way, they quarrel. What can I do in this situation to avoid the noise?
Hey, you know what I've learned about couples who are always keeping noise, Justin, and fighting with each other, is this, that needs are not being met. Needs are not being met. If you have a partner who is complaining and always making noise, chances are your partner is trying to tell you something and you're not listening. I want something, but you're not giving it to me. What is the greatest need of a man? Or needs of a man? A man wants to make sure that he has a job where he can look after his family. He wants to make sure that he got a little bit of money put one side in the event that something happens to his family. Yeah, that's how men think. A man wants to make sure that he gets his food when he comes home. When I say his food, I mean his mackerel. Well, I mean his yams and sweet potatoes and his breadfruit, the best kind of food in the world. He needs to know that he has those things. And then when he's ready, he wants to have his sex. These are the things. It doesn't take a lot for a man. Now watch this with a woman. Watch this with a woman. A woman wants to make sure that she feels secure. Security is a big thing for a woman, you know.
Listening, Pastor, listening.
Big thing for a woman. When a woman feels safe, that's a big thing to her. And safety is not only about being in four walls. Safety meaning that she knows that her man has her back. That's a big difference. She wants to feel emotionally connected to that man. Whoa, a woman just love that. When a woman knows that she's emotionally connected to her man and she feels safe, boy, I tell you, anything can play. But what happens is that oftentimes the woman is not getting that and the man is not getting that. So needs are not being met. And so when needs are not being met, then it creates all kinds of chaos, all kinds of chaos. all kinds of chaos. The woman is fussing about that, the man is fussing about that, they're complaining about this and they're complaining about that, but they're not stopping to think that their needs are not being met. All they're thinking about is simply this: he's not doing this and he's not doing it. I told him to take out the garbage and he won't take out the garbage. I told her that I need bare fruit this evening and she didn't give me bare fruit. They're complaining, but they're not dealing with the root issue. The root issue is that I don't think that my needs are being met. But a man may say, but I take care of everything. Well, I don't understand what the woman is concerned about. But yeah, you may be taking care of everything, but you're not taking care of that particular need that that person wants met. And I tell you, as long as you take care of the needs, as long as you take care of the needs of your partner, the partner will take care of you. They will reciprocate. So you have to make sure needs are taken care of. And I will say, if they're constantly fighting, stop and ask yourself the question, what is it do I really need? What is it I'm really fighting about? And be man enough, be woman enough to go to your partner and say to your partner, you know what? I do not feel loved by you. Straight up. Straight up. And your partner needs to be able to pay attention to that. Don't say things like, man, you know I love you, man, and I don't know. No. If your partner says, I don't feel as though you love me, this is the time for you now to sit down and listen and to find ways to demonstrate to your partner, based on what your partner says, how you can demonstrate that love. So this is generally what the problem is. A lack of needs being taken care of. Look and see where those needs are and deal with them.
Okay, great. So folks who are just joining us, we just want to let you know that the St. Thomas District is sponsoring this program, Thursday Night Talk. We just want to welcome all those who just joined us. I see Kirk Applewhite, who just joined us all the way. He's in another Caribbean island. We just want to welcome him. And folks who's joining us internationally as well, regionally and internationally. You know, we have Pastor Ricardo Salmon with us, and we're looking at the topic, I will still marry you after COVID. I will still marry you after COVID. And you know, for those up there who are on YouTube, you can send your questions in. We have a producer there. They will forward the questions to me. Those of you on Zoom, you can type your questions in. And we have Pastor Salmon here for a time. And let me tell you, he's given us some wonderful examples. Now, Pastor, let me ask you this. Since you said the needs are not being met, are the women willing to write down those needs on the fridge so that the husband can see them? Or are the husbands writing them down where the women will be on the sewing machine? Maybe, you know, the men will be near the television set, or the women will be near something. So each person write down the specific need or needs so that the other person can fulfill those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to let them know that the other reality is that if your partner said this is the need, you have to take care of that need. Mm-hmm. You can't say you're not to tell your partner, well, you know, I did that before. If your partner says this is the need, take care of the need. End of story. Push yourself hard, take care of it.
Great. So folks, listen, you write them down. Listen to your spouse. I am learning to listen. Now, let me share something with you. Now, I have heard about this kitchen garden all of the time. You know, we're in lockdown. Now, I don't know, the country is opening back up slowly. One of those things I was challenged with is start a kitchen garden. Now, I have found that starting that kitchen garden, I can see my wife turning the soil, and she showed me something today that I did not know. I congratulated her, and you know, she smiled. So you know what's gonna happen later on. I just put that out there for the person. Anything can happen, you know. Or we're gonna watch a movie. So there are many things that can happen. So I just let you know that there are things that you can do to help ease the stress. Because we have children, and that's another thing, Pastor. No, let me go straight into question 4 quickly, and then we have a break. Now, question 4 says, I am learning things about my spouse I didn't know. And some of them I am not so sure I like. What can I do about that, since you know that we are spending so much time together?
Well, you know, I don't know why people see good things as bad things. I think it's a beautiful thing when you can learn new things about your spouse. And you and I know that learning is a process. You learn new and you learn some good things and you learn some not so good things. That's just life. That's just life, right? And there's always this fear. There's always this fear that if you learn something new about your partner, that is a bad thing. No, no, no. What you learn new about your partner doesn't have to be good or has to be bad. It's just simply this: you learn something new about your partner, and that is a good thing. Now, what I will say is this: if you learn something new and you like it, tell your partner you like it. Oh, I love that. I love this one that you've done. Wow, I learned this. I mean, just make the good thing look so big. You know, they taught us when we were counseling. You take the little small thing that a person does and make it big, so big that it overshadows the bad thing that they do. So the key here is to make the good thing look so bad and talk about it and so on and so forth, and that your partner is more encouraged to do more of that good thing rather than the bad. Don't focus on the bad that you learn, because the bad that you learn, and this is the mistake we make all the time, when we discover something bad, or not bad, something that we don't like, because that doesn't make it bad because you don't like it. When we discover something that we don't like, we get bent out of shape. What can you don't like in a relationship? And that is the beauty about it, because it means that your partner is different from you. And your partner is to be different from you, because if both of you are the same, then one is not needed. So the fact that you have learned something different and new, and something different and new that you like, expect that you would also find something different and new that you will not be so happy about. You see, that is just the reality of life. But take the differences that exist between two of you and use them to your advantage, because we know similarities bring people together, but differences but differences keep them together. You know that, right? So if that is the case, it means that as you go through life and you're learning, you're going to be learning new and different things about the person, totally different from who you are. But those new things that you're learning, you have to believe that the Lord is actually shaping things up for something better in the future. Because that difference that you have, that your partner has, that you may feel that you don't like now, give yourself some time. You will like it in the future. As long as you start focusing on the positives of the partner and highlighting that piece that you like, that one that you don't like, you're going to like it in the end. Simply because that is how relationships work. That's how relationship works. Those differences are the things that keep us together.
Differences attract. Okay, Pastor. Very good advice. Very good advice, Pastor. Now, I just want to let you know that very soon, my co-host Nicholas Bedford will join us very, very shortly. And actually, he's ready. Nicholas Bedford, he's ready. So I'm going to cue my co-host, Nicholas Bedford, and he has some questions from the YouTubers and Zoom. So, Nicholas, are you there, sir? We're going to welcome you to the program. Yes, sir. Here.
Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you very much for your introduction. I've been listening carefully to the responses from our pastor, and for the most part, the audience seems to be well informed. There are some questions. There are 3 of them. I don't know. Let me just go through them quickly. First question says, if a person loves their spouse, why would spending extra time with them in the house bring so much problems? Does this mean they probably didn't love each other in the first place?
No. Hey, Nicholas, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
the issue is not so much that they don't love each other. They love each other. They really do love each other, huh? But what happens is that the stress that has been brought to the relationship as a result of the lockdown or the shutdown, and the person is not getting an opportunity to go out and really do the things that they're accustomed to doing, it creates the stress. And because that stress is created, when stress is created and that pressure is placed on, anything can happen. That is why we say manage your stress. Because if you're able to manage your stress, that person in that house that you love would not be a problem. That is the key to managing your stress level. But the problem is, Nicholas, a lot of people don't manage their stress well, and they allow the stress to take charge of them. And what happens is that the relationship begins to look ugly and different simply because stress is not under control. And there are ways of managing your stress. If it's on the lockdown, what I do is that I go skip on the outside, I jog on the spot. I call a physiotherapist friend of mine, and she taught me new ways of doing exercise, and that really burn a lot of energy. When you start to do, because you have to do things to reduce your stress level, and usually the things that you do to reduce stress level in a lot of ways need to be physical, because when you go outside and you start to get a sledgehammer and pong up some rock, you can release a lot of stressful energy and so on and so forth. So that is critical. The stress level, the anxiety level, bring them under control, and the relationship that exists in the house would be just fine.
Okay, so it's not that they don't love each other anymore. It's just that they need to find ways to manage and to deal with the stress.
That's right. That's right. And remember that all relationships have to be nurtured. So you can't stop nurturing the relationship, because when you stop nurturing the relationship, you're going to have a problem. That is why I keep saying, keep the lines of communication open and be able to manage have good conflict resolution skills.
Thank you very much, Pastor. That would kind of lead into my next question. This one I find rather interesting. The person says, even before COVID-19, I wanted to let my spouse know they are getting a little chubby. Now with COVID-19, the last 7 weeks under lockdown, there has been a jump in the weight. Can it get to the point, here's the question, can it get to the point that I am not attracted intimately to them anymore? And the second question is, how should I tell them?
Well, look, I saw a kind of cartoon clip, right? A cartoon clip that was sent around where, this couple is locked in. And so they got so big that they couldn't even get through the door anymore. And so they're trying to figure out now how they're going to get through the door. Here's the reality though. Yes, it is very, very possible that you can become unattracted or attractive to your partner simply because you put on too much weight, especially if the weight was coming on before COVID. So you really can't blame COVID for that. You're going to have to blame the person because they probably eating too much. And so because they eat so much and now they're locked in, that is going to exacerbate the problem. Now you're going to really pile on the weight. And when that weight is piled on, and your partner is going to have a hard time just looking. So I'm saying that, let me say this though, and this is important. During COVID, one of the things that we need to do while we're locked in is that we have to reduce the amount of food that we eat. What happens is that people eat more. And part of the reason why they eat more during COVID is because they're stressed out. And in some cases because of the anxiety and the depression. Because anxiety and depression can either cause you to eat too much or eat too little, depending on the circumstance. So you have to look at it, the situation, and say, well, maybe this person is so stressed out, so depressed, so anxious, they're eating to compensate. Now, if you decide to eat to compensate though, you have to exercise. You have to exercise. You have to exercise. And you have to spend about an hour each day exercising. And you must sweat, you must burn fat, you must feel the water dropping off of you. You must do that. That is very important. So I wouldn't advise the person to get too concerned over the fact that the person has put on the weight. What you can do is that you can make certain recommendations. You can say, well, let's go jogging together. Are you trying to tell me I'm too fat? Well, you have been putting on a little bit, and I just thought that that we can work out together because I know you don't want to have on all that weight. I mean, you gotta find nice words to say without insulting people and making people feel bad. So you have to recommend certain things. Exercise, which is key. No late night eating. Don't eat past 6 o'clock. Drink a lot of water. All of these are things that you can do to help bring that weight down. By the way, bringing weight down requires discipline. discipline. It's easy to put it on, but it's hard to take it off. Requires discipline. So it means that the couple is gonna have to be very disciplined as they deal with the weight. And yes, you have to tell the person that the weight is bothering you, because if you don't, you're gonna have to live with that, and the person is gonna go on assuming that it's okay when it is not okay. You have to say to your partner, tell your partner the things that are bothering you. You have to. And so, what was the last question? What was the last piece of it there?
I think you answered it. It was how should I tell them? And the other one, when I get to the point that I'm not attracted intimately to them anymore.
Yes, yeah, and that is a problem. That generally is a problem, because when a person puts on too much weight, for some people it don't matter whether you put on weight or not. But if it mattered to that person, it means that this woman has to get off that weight. Now, one can argue and say that that you gotta love me for the way that I am. That is true as well. But the other reality there, my friend, is simply this: that it is difficult for a person to live in a house with somebody and be intimate, make love with somebody who is too fat. And I'm saying, when that happens, a determined effort has to be made to reduce the fat. But they can work on it together. Tell the person, I'm willing to work with you on it. You know, that demonstrates love and care and compassion. And if you say that to the person, they might feel a little funny, yes, but they would understand that you mean well. And it means that both of you can work together to get that fat down. And when they start to take shape and so on and so forth, getting back to the place you like, you have to say then, wow, I like you the way it is. Because you can't tell them they're too fat when they're fat, but then when they get back to the place they were that you like, then you say that, then you don't say anything. You understand? So things like that. But then I would also add that you have to be careful loving somebody because of their weight, huh? Because we have to love who the person is in a lot of ways inside, not necessarily the person loving the person on the outside.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Justin, do we have time for one more? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have time for one more.
Right. This one is coming from one of the Zoomers, and they're asking the question. I believe it's a follow-on from one that was asked earlier. They say, what happens when the partner isn't understanding the language you are speaking? I may say I need X, but if she doesn't understand what X is or believe that is important, how do I handle a situation like this?
I think one of the greatest books that was ever written is a book called 5 Love Languages. I think it's an incredible book. I think it's a masterpiece. Huh? I think it's a masterpiece. I would first suggest that you two of them read that together. Huh? Get the book, read it together. The 5 Love Languages. Secondly, I would suggest that they go online and do the assessment. There's a 5 Love Language assessment. Go on Google it. 5 Love Languages assessment, and do the assessment. It will take a few minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, somewhere around there. After you've done that, you would have a better understanding. Both of you have to do it. After you've done that, both of you would have a better understanding as to what the other person's love language is. Because you can speak to a person in a language, you can speak to your partner in a language that you consider to be all right, to be fair, good, kind, loving. But your partner doesn't hear that though. Your partner doesn't hear that because you're not speaking the language of the partner. And as long as you're speaking the language of the partner would hear. They will hear. I tell you, the book is a masterpiece. Your partner will hear. For example, I have a situation where my wife's love language, I know my wife's love language quite well. I had to learn it. I learned. When I did the assessment, when she did the assessment, I said, oh man, I knew that before they told me that. But I learned from the assessment how I need to talk to my wife. I was talking, okay, I believe. But I learned that there are certain words I just don't use with my wife. Certain words I just don't use. Certain words. Because she's words of affirmation. So I use words. I use it. I make an effort of learning and understanding all of that and try them out on her and stuff like that. So I don't have any problems. So I'm saying sometimes you just have to learn the love language of your partner. And don't say that you're using the language of your partner, but your partner still in understanding. Then things don't work. As long as you're using the love language of your partner will understand. By the way, let me add this, that there are some partners who have love languages that are very, very close. Two. One could be words of affirmation, and the other one could be quality time. So even when you use words and you get it right and you don't spend quality time, you're still going to have a problem. So you have to make sure you use the words and still give quality time, because sometimes in order to use the right words, you're going to spend some time doing it. So if you pay attention to that, your partner will understand. Now the problem you have is because what happens, and I've seen this played out, is that I hear some spouses say, well, yeah, I see they're trying to do this right and all of that right, but I ain't listening to more. There's some couples that are just mean. You do all you can. You bend over backwards, and still they're cutting you down to size. All I will say to you on that is this: you marry a toxic person. Toxic. Because if you do all you can, you bend over backwards, you're kind, you understand, you do everything you're supposed to do, and you still getting resistance, your problem is deeper than that. Your problem in love languages, your problem in another language, the problem could be that your partner has a problem. That is what it is. And you have to find out what that problem is. Deal with it. So it no longer becomes a marital problem anymore. It becomes an individual problem, and the individual needs to deal with it. Because what we do is that we take an individual problem, impose it on the marriage, and call it a marital problem. I distance myself from that. The reality is you have an individual problem, deal with it. And having dealt with it, now you can relate better to your partner.
Thank you so very much, Pastor, for sharing. Just one before you go. As a couple, how do I know when it is time to see a counselor?
Oh, but it's interesting. It's interesting for this that you should ask that question, because for this shutdown period, there's a research I wanted to get to, but I can't get to. It's amazing. People just keep you busy. It's truly amazing. I feel like I'm more busy now than when I out on the streets. It is truly amazing, because that piece I wanted to research. I want to research that piece, but let me say this to you though, because I wanted to research that and write a paper on it. That is what I really wanted to do during this time. Research that piece. I want to call it. I have the theme running around my head too. But let me put it this way here: that as soon as you realize that your relationship is under any small amount of stress, you need to see a counselor. You follow what I'm saying? Because what couples normally say to me, by the time people get to me, oftentimes 95% of the time the marriage already over. And I don't know what they come to me for. Somebody sent a couple to me today, and I tell them, look, I really don't, when people go through all these different things, I really don't want to deal with them, right? Because by the time the person gets to me, it used to be over. They go to this body that don't know about this. This body said they went and get a certificate in counseling. This body said, oh, and by the time they get to me, it's done. People just mess it up. But I would say this here, as soon as you reach to a place where the relationship seems out of normal, out of the normal, my wife is not talking to me, we are bickering with each other, you need to sit down with a counselor. Because when you sit with the counselor will help you to deconstruct the problem earlier o'clock. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until it gets bad. People wait until it gets bad. And then it's hard to pull back. People become relaxed and they won't wait and decide, they settle in their mind, I'm done. Don't let it get to that. You have to, as soon as the relationship come under strain, you do it. Matter of fact, I believe that every couple should see a counselor every year. I believe that. The only reason I don't go to a counselor, man, my wife is, I figure, who you can go to now? Whoever go to, gotta be real good. Because I won't go to a counselor and feel like they're iffing. I went to a barber one time, he trying to all here overseas somewhere. I know he didn't know what he was doing. The only reason I didn't get up and leave is because I didn't want to be disrespectful. So if I go to a counselor now, based on all that I know, and I see a counselor fooling around, playing around, I wouldn't come back. See? So I'm saying, make sure you go to a counselor that knows what he or she is doing. And you need to see a counselor every year. You don't have to have a problem to see a counselor.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. I believe I've exhausted all the questions from the audience tonight. Justin, I'm going to turn back over to you so you can have anything else.
Thank you very much, co-host Elder Nicholas Bedford. We really thank you. Thank you, YouTubers. Thank you, Zoomers, for those questions. Those questions were enlightening. And just to let you know, we posted in the YouTube chat and also the Zoom chat what the pastor have just spoken about the 5 love languages. So you can take the quiz with your spouse. I certainly will do that because sometimes we get in a comfort zone where we feel that our marriage, our relationship is good, but the pastor just gave us some good advice. We need to see a counselor every year. That is good to put the things out there, to express the things. I just want to welcome all those who just joined us. A lot of persons just joined us on YouTube. A lot of persons just joined us on Zoom. So we just want to take this time to welcome you. We welcome you to TNT, Thursday Night Talk. I am your host, Justin Alleyne, and we have with us tonight Pastor Ricardo Salmon, and we're dealing with the topic, I still will marry you after COVID. And I just want to let you know we are sponsored by the St. Thomas District of Seventh-day Adventist, pastored by Pastor Bernard Prescott, and we are also sponsored by Clayton's Fresh Produce and Patrick's Variety. Clayton's Fresh Produce and Patrick's Variety. Pastor, we are bringing this thing closer to the end, and we are going now to the hard topics now, Pastor, some difficult things. Now, we're realizing, as a church, and this is something that I'm sad about, that we are not doing a lot of writing, and we don't have a lot of statistics. We get the models from America. But I know, and I certainly you know, that in the church, we're having a lot of separation and divorce. I know we are dealing with the topic, I will marry after COVID, but we are seeing that during COVID, persons are running for the lawyers, are running to the pastors, and they're running to you. They say, I had enough. I can't take this woman. Speak to us about this problem, Pastor. Pastor? Okay.
Having some problems, I guess. There you go. Okay, can you give me that question again? Because I got distracted.
Sure, certainly. Now, as I was alluding to, we in the Caribbean and pretty much Barbados and so on, we don't have a lot of statistics. We don't write a lot. And we suffer from following books that sometimes are not fashioned for us. And right now, we are dealing with an issue now in church, and we can suspect, we can imagine, but we know it is there, even though we don't have the statistics. A lot of persons are coming to you, Pastor. A lot of persons are coming to their pastors and saying, look, I've had enough of this man and have enough of this woman. I'm stressed out. Even during COVID, just before COVID, persons are hanging up the books. Speak to us about the challenges, Pastor, that you are seeing now in the church and outside, and this dealing with couples and relationships and marriage.
You know, a lot of let me say that we have to be careful with the books that we read. There are some people who buy books and read books that don't have a lot of research backing them. People just write their opinions. Um, I generally prefer to read books where they have research, good research backing. I wouldn't call the books that I have concerns with. I know some people read them, but I wouldn't call them here. But we have to be careful the books that we read. And if you're going through something, one of the struggles of a lot of people, they're going through challenges in their lives and they buy books to read the books to overcome the challenge. You got to be careful with that. Sometimes too much knowledge can cause more problems than anything else. Sit down with a counselor. Sit down with a counselor. Sometimes when I counsel them folk, I tell them I have to ask them to stop reading some of those books. Then I have to help them to clean up the slate before you can really try to help them, because they have that stuff in their head that's holding them down. So we have to be careful with the books that we read. But I think your question though has to do with all of these relationships that may be in trouble and what to do about them. Justin, there are very few marriages that, let me put it this way, the majority of marriages are in trouble. Even if you call it 51%, and I'll go 51%, I think the percentage is higher than that. They're in trouble. When people get married, they don't know what they're getting into. They just don't know. And when you try to explain to them how marriage really is, for some reason they think that you are against them. But marriage is tough stuff. And marriage, for the survival of a marriage requires that we be tough with it. We be tough with it. And so persons are heading to going for separations and heading to the divorce courts because they're seen incapable of forgiving each other, because forgiveness is critical in a marital relationship. Let me tell you something. Anybody who's been married for any length of time would tell you better learn how to forgive. You better learn how to forgive. And sometimes you better learn how to forget. Get amnesia with some of those things that happens in the relationship. One of the things we have to learn how to do in relationships is we have to pay attention to the other person, because in a marital relationship, it's not what I want that is important. It's what my wife wants that's important. And she has to think the same way of me. It is not what she wants, but what her husband wants. If couples think like that, some of the problems we have will go away. But oftentimes we only think in terms of that which we want. I want this, I want that, I want the next. And when we get into this, I want and I this and the next, what we do, we create a lot of problems, and the devil loves to hear that kind of conversation, and he uses it to his advantage. So we have a lot of couples who are heading into trouble simply because they're not looking out for the needs of the other person. And what happens is that oftentimes when you ask them what's wrong, they can't even tell you. One of the first things I ask couples, tell me what the problem is. And you give a piece of paper to the husband, a piece of paper to the wife, and you say, you tell me what is the problem, you tell me what's the problem, I write it down. I don't want them to voice it. And you'll be surprised to know at times the two don't write two completely different things. And so it therefore suggests that oftentimes they are in trouble, but they don't know why they're in trouble. But if they pay attention to it, they will discover that they are in trouble simply because they're not paying attention to each other. I married. I have to pay attention to my wife. She was at work all day. Shortly before you all came on, I was on another Zoom. I finished the Zoom. I had to go and take care of my wife. Give her a hug, a kiss, and a little rub. Let her know I'm here, but I can be out for a little while. Attention. You gotta give attention to the person. See? And then at times we see another woman or another man somewhere that we like. They say the grass is only look green on the other side here. And we want that other person. We don't know what we're getting into. And so we have people now trying to head to the divorce court simply because they get tired of each other and they're not willing to put in the effort. And I've learned a long time ago that when you start to get tired of your partner, this is the time when you have to start praying and ask the good Lord to give you interest in that partner, that you love that partner more. And when you do that, the partner, the relationship will get better, simply because you're not looking on the outside anymore. The girls look good now. You know, Asians girls look good. Sorry for those who are overseas. Sorry, but you know the girls look good now.
Definitely.
But that's all right. Let them look good. I have the best looking one and the nice looking one. So I stay with that. What you see is you business, but I stay with that. I can't get in no trouble for that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying these are all the things that you have to keep in mind to make sure that your marriage does not fall apart. Of course, you have to have family worship. These are very important things. The family that prays together stays together. The family that eats together stays together. And whenever you finish looking at all these different things, the family that really spends time together is the family that stays together. Time eating, time praying, time talking, time going for a walk, time doing this and time doing that. These are the people who stay together, not the ones who are fragmented. I think I lost the question somewhere, but I like where I'm going with it.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on, Pastor, and as it relates to that. So the brilliant answer, and we really thank you. Now, the final thing, Pastor, we've said a lot. And what the last question, because we're mindful of time, and how can we rekindle, given that we are in this pandemic, in this situation, how can we use the negative of COVID, turn it into a positive now to rekindle that fire that when we walk up the aisle with our spouse and we show them off, things were rosy and happy. She was slim and we had the 6-pack or the 8-pack or whatever pack we had. How can we now rekindle now that fire?
You talking about rekindle the romance, or you talking about just falling in love again? My son liked to sing that song, "Falling in Love with Jesus." Are you talking about falling in love again, or were you talking about romance?
Romance, Pastor, romance. The fire, that fire you feel when you're early on. That fire.
Let me say this to you. Let me say this here. You see, look, rekindling romance is a good thing, right? But watch this. Don't expect to have what you had before. Expect to get better than what you had. And see if you think of it that way, you the better make progress, because I am not the kind of person who like to go back. I like to go forward. So I like to think that whatever I did in the past was good, but I want to do better as I go forward. And we're talking about romance here, right? Is that the same thing as sex? That's the same as sex?
You tell me, Pastor.
Because you see, romance is different from sex.
You
see? So
yes,
because I can hug my wife like I did earlier. I can go hug her, rub her back, give her a kiss, and so on and so. That's romance. You see? And I ain't get to the bed yet. That is on the file. I ain't get there yet. Right? Right? But listen, let me say this to you though, that if rather than go to the divorce court after COVID, it's better to take time to reassess the relationship. And because you're going to have to get that sexual energy going again, the chemistry going again, because when people are under stress, they lose interest in romance and sex and those kind of things, huh? Because stress and anxiety and depression dwindles the need for those kind of things, yeah. But what I would suggest though, I like to start at the beginning. Try to like I said, reassess, and so on and so forth. I think to let the two of them spend some time with God though, because you see, you need to spend a little time with God and ask God for forgiveness for the mistakes you've made during COVID, and ask Him to rekindle the love relationship, you know, and put life back into the relationship, because God wants to do that, because he's insisted in your marriage. But one of the things that must happen though is that you have to reconnect with that. The man has to reconnect with that woman emotionally. Now you notice that what I just did is that I just placed the responsibility on the man for getting the relationship back in order.
Mm-hmm.
You notice I did that. Now let me tell you. Yeah. Let me tell you why I did that, Justin. I did that simply because women look to men for their. This is not to say that a woman don't know what she wants. That's not that. I simply dealing with this relationship. Women look to a man for leadership. They look to the man to make that first move. But that's what we do when we were courting, you know. We made the first move, right? And the women like that. Women like to be pursued. They don't want to pursue. They don't want to pursue us. Women like to be pursued. Men are pursuers, right? So so because men are expected to be pursuers, and the woman wants the man to make the first move, what needs to happen is that the man now has to reconnect emotionally with that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, you ain't going nowhere. You aren't achieving nothing unless you reconnect emotionally with that woman.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
See what you're saying, Pastor.
Because you see, because when a woman feels emotionally connected to her man, right? When she can feel her man, when she knows that her man is with her, she's willing to become vulnerable. She's willing to release herself. She's willing to give herself to the man. And one of the things that cripples us as men all the time is simply because we want to have sex, we want to have romance, whatever, I don't know. But we want to have all of that, but we have not reconnected emotionally with a woman. That is priority to a woman. Priority number one to a woman. Priority number one. Men don't miss that. Don't miss that at all. If you miss that, you're in trouble.
Okay. Pastor, what a wonderful, that was a well laid out, well thought out answer. I thought that I did not give the pastor this question ahead of time, and that was a well thought out, well delivered answer. Now, Pastor, quickly, as producers, let me know that we just have 1 minute. So, Pastor, just give me your wrap up thoughts quickly.
That's
for all those viewers.
I was no warming up.
Yes, these normally producers are, I know you're no warming up, but our producers are a stickler for time, you know, so they just let me know we have 1 minute because we have to get into something else. So we just give it, you know, tell us, you know, your final thoughts, your wrap-up pointers.
Sure. Let me say this, that thanks for the invitation. Thanks for listening and sharing. Let me say that I pray that as we go through this shutdown period, that you keep yourself safe and your family safe. Try to make sure that you stay connected with each other. Listen, I want to make sure that when COVID is over, we have our family still. We still have our wives and we still have our children. We don't want to look back and regret and say, if I had only known. Trust God to work that out. Trust God. Do like the psalmist David, search me, O God. And when you allow God to search you, to know your thoughts and everything, you ask God to show you a different way and lead you, he is going to do just that. So what we're doing to help along to continue this conversation we're having here, Justin, on Sabbath the 23rd at 4 p.m., I bring in 2 professionals that in the US of A, down in Texas. They're professional marriage counselors. They're now retired. They're elderly, but they're powerful. They're powerful. I know because I dealt with them in Dominica, and I'm bringing them in to look specifically at couples relationships. It's how we can stay strong and stay better during this COVID-19 time and come out stronger in the end.
Repeat the date and the time again, Pastor.
This is on the 23rd, Sabbath the 23rd of May at 4 p.m. I'll send the links out to the churches so that they know, so that they can log on and become part of it. It's going to be a powerful, deep. This couple is deep because they've had years and years of experience. They're deep and they're powerful. and I believe you're going to be blessed by it. So may God bless all of y'all. Stay strong, stay faithful, love each other, look out for your wife, look out for your husband, look out for your children, look out for one another, distance, stay social distancing, reach out to your friends, everybody. Make sure by the time we come out of this situation, we are still a family unit. God bless you and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Pastor. I just want to let you know you've been talking to well over 100 persons. I just want to let you know that this show goes around the world. This is an international broadcast, and well over 100 persons join us on YouTube, persons joining us on Zoom. I know that persons are now coming on. We just want to thank you for joining us. And we just had Pastor Ricardo Salmon. He's the Family Life Counselor here at the East Caribbean Conference of Southern Adventist. He's the Family Life Director. He's a trained counselor. He just said he loves to counsel, and that also includes pastoring as well. Now, we here at the St. Thomas District, we are delighted to have you this evening for Thursday Night Talk TNT, and we're wrapping up. We're just wrapping up. I just want to thank our sponsors, the St. Thomas District, for allowing us the opportunity to host this program, TNT Thursday Night Talk, sponsored by Pastor Bernard Prescott, and we're also sponsored by Clayton's Fresh Produce. Get all your fresh produce, oranges, grapes, whatever you need, get called Clayton. Patrick's Variety, you get the best Edo Punch in the world right at Patrick's Variety. So we just want to thank our sponsors, and we just letting you know next week we got a very interesting topic next week. So you need to stay locked to TNT, the best show on Thursday nights. So my name is Justin Alleyne. I'm signing out. So let us pray. Let us close with prayer. Father God, we thank you for a wonderful session. We thank Pastor Salmon for ably conducting the session, giving us a lot of ammunition for our marriages. So we just want to take the time now, Father, to just slow it right down and pray for our marriages. Lord, our marriages are challenged because individually we are sinners. And we pray, Lord, for your Holy Spirit to take control of us so that we can be saints. We pray, Lord, that homes, our wives, our husbands know us well, so they know if we are faking it or we're the real deal. So help us to be real, help us to connect, help us that during COVID and after COVID, our families will remain strong and connected. For those ones who are experiencing extreme challenges now, Lord, we just lift them before you. Touch every single home, every single partner, every single child, every single husband, every single wife. We just pray, Lord, that you'll help them. Help all of us. We need help. I need help. Even Pastor Salmon need help. All of us need help in our homes. So we just put everything into your hands and your keeping. Direct us in Jesus' precious name. Amen. So blessings to all of you. And we just want to, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. All those on YouTube, all those on Zoom, thank you for joining us. And as usual, we're going to leave the chat open to say greetings to your friends and family. And we have persons locked down from Kingston, Jamaica, persons locked down from Grand Cayman. We have persons locked down from the United States, all around the world. From England, we have persons locked down from England. Shout out to Adam Graves and all those persons in the sports chat, Kenny, Kurt, all of those in the sports chat. So we just want to just thank you for logging on. So at this time, we just leave the room open for those who want to say their greetings. Thank you and have